Welcome to Captain's Quarters First Class, a podcast about outdoor lighting, Christmas lighting, landscape lighting, soffit lighting. I was talking to a guy either this morning or the other day about starting their own business. And I just wanted to kind of walk through a few questions that you need to ask yourself before you go out and start your own business. The first one is, do you actually want to own your own business? Owning your own business is not the same as working for someone. And I know it sounds sexy, right? Like, ooh, I only report to myself. I only have myself to blame. I only have myself to pat on the back when we win. Now, those are true. But if you've only ever been an employee working for someone else, it is basically impossible to understand the difference that will occur. You no longer, when you're first starting out, right? You no longer have vacation time. You can't just turn off your phone because let's be real. Most people, when they start, they're going to be one guy doing all the jobs, all the sales, everything. Maybe they have a helper on site. Um, there is no time off. There is no safety net. You become your own safety net, and really to be your own boss, to be an entrepreneur with not side hustling, no other job to fall back on, just doing you and your business, whether that's outdoor lighting, Christmas lighting, patios, window washing, whatever the case may be, is no different. You have to be a little insane. And by a little, I mean a lot, right? Someone who is going to jump out and totally trust themselves and figure it all out, you have to be a little insane. You know, in when my coach, right, there's called the trifecta of insanity when you are a married business owner with children, right? One of those things in themselves is insane. All three at once is absolute insanity. So you have to remember that that is a very real thing, that you have to be a little nuts. It takes people who are a little nuts to do big things. On the flip of that, though, you can be an amazing installer of landscape lighting. You can be an amazing installer of soffit lighting. You can be an amazing Christmas light installer. And you're working for someone, and you're like, man, I'm doing all the work, and the boss is making all the money. Well, that is not a true statement, but I understand the feeling, right? The boss is getting more of an upside because you're the one on site. So in your mind, the boss is making all the money because you ignore everything the boss has done to get you to that job, right? You ignore all the marketing funds, all the time they spent not making a dime for themselves, all the years of the struggle. You don't see all that. You just see, oh, I see he's driving a nicer car than mine. What an asshole. I'm going to start my own business. The problem with that is, just because you're good at the job you're doing, just because you're a great and amazing, maybe the best ever technician, does not mean you're going to be a good business owner. Does not mean you should be a business owner, right? Being good at the job you do does not qualify you to start your own business, not even remotely. You know how many amazing technicians start their own business and fail? Well, most of them actually, right? Amazing technicians do not need to be their own boss. It's so much more than doing the job that you think that you're really good at. You might suck at everything else. An amazing tech wants to be paid well and live a great life. Want vacation time, want time with their family, want the weekends off most of the time. Well, when you move from being that amazing technician to the sole owner, that changes. Your main role now is probably you're going to be installing less than you have ever installed in your life. And all of a sudden, now you're a CEO. Now you're a CFO. Now you're HR. Now you have to figure out taxes on a different scale, payroll taxes, workers' comp, family medical leave, right? So all of this stuff gets piled onto you. Marketing, sales, follow-ups, email systems, websites, text messaging, business phone numbers. All of this is now put onto your plate. You are not going to have time to be the amazing technician that you are. I want to encourage you that just because you're an amazing technician and your boss is making money from your work, that does not immediately mean that you should leave and go try to start your own thing, right? Become an intrapreneur. That's like a newer term, right? You kind of control your business inside of the business. If you are that amazing tech that you believe that you are, and arguably you probably are, then ask your boss for something different. Tell your boss, hey, boss, don't want to be hourly and I don't want to be salary. I want to be paid for the work that I do. I believe I can get more work done. I'd like to move to more of like a production or a commission. You sell the jobs, I will complete the jobs. And, you know, let's just say it's 20% for this conversation. I want 20% of the gross profit on that job. Anybody else who has to help me on site, of course, that comes out of that 20%, and I keep the rest. And yes, I'll do all, any fixed request for the 3 months on that job is included in that because nothing should go wrong within 3 months. Right now, that's a new conversation. Now you can be the amazing tech that you are and allow the boss, the owner, to do what they have learned or what they have been trained to do, which is market, close, sales, all these little inner workings that go together. There are so many things happening before that technician ever steps on a job site, right? Unfortunately, we can't just go set up on someone's lawn and start installing and then be like, hey, we just did this job. Now you have to pay us. No, you have to get that client first interested in your service, then interested in your service and also interested in talking to you, then having you be the best choice out of all the people they talk to, then having them approve the price of that project, then ordering everything, making sure it's in, shipping costs, storage costs when it comes in, all of that, then a checklist so everyone knows what to bring, and then the technician gets to show up at the job. Then after the technician leaves the job, well, now the owner is responsible for everything after you clock out, everything else. Those 9 o'clock phone calls when something goes wrong or there's an emergency, the fix requests that come up, the maintenance, all of these things. You as a technician, you're not responsible. Yeah, whatever. You get to clock out and go home. Your boss doesn't, or he has to pay someone to continually do that. So there's money coming out of his pocket into somebody else's to help him fill that role. You will not have that option when you choose to do your own business. And I'm just telling you some of the things. We could probably go on and on and on a podcast about the pros and cons of owning your own business. But I just wanted this person I was talking to, I don't believe that they should. I don't believe that they are capable. I believe they should stay an employee. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. See, sometimes you're in your circles when you're amazing tech and you get into Facebook groups and you see owners talking and you see people talking about how much money they make and all this jazz. You get wrapped up in this bullshit that isn't even true. I know plenty of these owners behind the scenes that I talk to on the phone or I hang out with them in real life, have conversations with them. And I know what you're seeing on Facebook is bullshit. It is all half truths. But you're comparing and thinking about your life like everything you read from these guys is true and accurate. Right? When someone says, let's just say Christmas lighting. I did 300,000 in Christmas lighting. And you as an employee, maybe you made 8-9 grand that season. And you're thinking, this motherfucker, I just made him over $250,000. This is bullshit. But people are just posting their top line revenue. You don't know the monthly nut. The monthly nut isn't just during the season. The monthly nut continues after the season. You still have to carry insurance. You need storage. You still need payroll set up. You need all of these things that go into making that season. That top line revenue sounds great until you realize, oh yeah, and everything you see in your paycheck that says taxes taken out, right? When you look at your pay stub, whatever taxes get taken out for you, the employer has to match. So if you're paying $178 a week in payroll taxes, your employer is also paying that on top of it. So you pay $178, I pay $178. And then there's family medical leave and workers' comp, which you don't pay as an employee. The employer pays, right? And workers' comp can be, range depending on the state, 6 to 12% sometimes for every $100 of payroll. And that is just cost that you don't see when you see these top line revenues. So often I see guys that start their own business or side hustle for a while and say, man, I'm doing all this work, but I'm barely making money, or I'm not making money. I should just go back to working for someone. Right. And that's where it takes the crazy person. That's where it takes the insane person. Now, I know I'm not making money. I'm a motherfucking figure this out. There is no plan B. I'm not side hustling. I don't have a full-time job. I don't have a part-time job. I'm fucking making this work, or I'm making something else work. But I'm not going back. It's a type of crazy. I've gone fucking as an idiot. Yes, I would never recommend this, and it was stupid. I've gone like 8 months without taking a fucking paycheck from anything. Eight months, not a dollar. That's insane. Now, it's also stupid. Again, that's not a badge of honor. At one point in my life, I thought it was. It's not a badge of honor. It's a badge of stupidity. But only someone who's insane would do it. Only someone who's insane enough to make a business work that they start themselves. That's the only way it works. You got to be a little crazy. You got to be a little crazy. I just want to really encourage you to look into everything and not just get sucked into the alleged pros of owning your own business. And I think owning your own business is amazing. I encourage you guys to start it if that's what you want to do. But I also want to encourage you and tell you there is nothing wrong with being an employee. For some reason, some of these circles like look down on it. Insane. Insane. It doesn't make you a better person because you own a business. It doesn't make you a lesser person because you're an employee. It doesn't mean you're not good enough because you're an employee. It doesn't mean you're amazing because you're a business owner. Right? We have to stop putting those two things together like one is better than the other, because it's not. Right? What you want in your life and what you want outside of work matters. It does. Stop getting sucked into this whole fucking thing that being an employee is somehow a bad thing. Take your job and own it. Become an entrepreneur. Become so vital in that business that your boss is so happy that you're working for him. It can be done. Don't get the chip on your shoulder because you're not the boss. You don't even understand what the fuck it takes to be the boss. Right? So anyways, I want to encourage you. If you're an employee, love it, own it, and make it. Pretend that job is your own business, because in reality, it is. It's how you feed your family. Work like it is. Work to your best. Figure out with your boss, how can I be better and how can I make more money? Because I don't know any business owner that won't love to have a conversation with an employee that wants to know how to do better and how to make more money. There's no drawback to having that conversation for either side. Right? It gets you knowing exactly what the boss wants and how you become even better in his eyes or her eyes when they say you can get a raise by doing X, Y, and Z. Or maybe they say, well, I don't know, with our current pricing, like you're at the max, I can't do anymore. Okay, boss, well, what if we switch to some sort of production pay for performance, the buzzword right now, P for P, right? But it's production pay, right? Or there's all sorts of different terms for it. But you could suggest that. Hey, man, how about not hourly? Let me pay for only the work that I get done. Be a great conversation, and it could make you love your job even more. I've seen too many guys leave their jobs and regret it. So don't leave your job just because you're an amazing tech and want to make more money. And ask what you can do better. How badass would it be if you start making double what you're making now, working for the same boss, working for that same company? What would that look like for you? Is that really what you want? Is starting your own business really just about making more money? There's so much more to it than that. I encourage you, if you're thinking about starting your own business, sit down, really look at it, figure out why you want to do it, and then look at your other options before you take that plunge. All right, this has been Captain's Quarters First Class, a podcast about outdoor lighting, Christmas lighting, landscape lighting, soffit lighting. Check out Captain Matt Outdoors if you want to be mentored by me. I do mentoring for Christmas, landscaping, soffits, all of it. Captain Matt Outdoors. Apply today. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one.